Alright, next we have Jarom Schill, and he's going to be doing some stand-up comedy. As far as I know, tomato does come out of his shirt in the washer, so... Here we go! Yeah!
How people use this microphone to take each other one time. Aha! Technology. Okay, so like Logan said, I'm Jarom Schill. I'm very glad to be here and see all you guys here. This is a really good show. I mean, those glow stick, right on, right on. So most of you probably know my parents. My mother is Jill Schill and my father is Scott Schill. I just want to talk about my dad for a little bit. He's been working in the wilderness therapy program for about 25 years. And so he's had a lot of special kids go through his program. And so I could be up here for quite literally days telling you half of the stories that I've heard, but my time limit is 5 minutes, so I think I'm just going to cut it down to one of the best stories that I've ever heard. So when my dad was starting in the wilderness program, this is when, like in the first years that he married my mom. I wasn't born yet. I'm the baby of the family. It's embarrassing. But so he was starting out at the lowest level of employment, which is called a staff. Now a staff is one of the people who goes out and they monitor the groups of the kids, and they they're just making sure they're not running all over the place in the middle of nowhere. So my dad, they usually back then in the program that he was in, they started out the kids, they would give them their gear and all their stuff, and they would do that for the whole day. It would take the whole day to give them their gear, their clothes, their food, everything they needed, and then they would do a night hike. All night, just going straight through, and it was about 11 o'clock when they started, and so my dad got stuck with a group of inner city gang kids from Salt Lake City, which, well, I don't know why he wanted that group, but they started hiking, and it was really dark that night. There was no moon. I mean, it's just absolutely pitch black. So my dad asked them to walk in a single file line, because there are dry washes on either side, and so if you fall in the wash, you get yourself hurt. So, of course, all of them are too cool to listen to him. And so, so they're hiking along, and out of nowhere, they hear the scariest, most terrifying sounds you've ever heard in your life. Murr. And these kids flipped the coin. What was that? What was that? And so my dad turns around and he says, "Don't worry, it was just a cow." "What do they eat, people?" And so my father, realizing that these kids weren't joking around, turns around and says, "They usually don't come after large groups of people, so if we stay together, we should be okay." So they continue the hike, supposedly with a killer cow on the loose. And eventually after that, most of the kids started walking in single file line. But eventually there were a couple of guys that were too cool for school, and they're walking side by side. And they're just walking with their swag hike. And they're talking trash about this cow. "Hey man, that cow gonna get me. I want that cow, yeah." And so they're trash talking the cow. My dad's up front, desperately trying not to laugh so hard. He's holding it back with almost everything he has. And all of a sudden they hear another noise. Boom, 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 boom. And this scream comes out, "The cow got him! Ah!" And my dad turns his headlight back at him, and one of the two kids was actually missing, and he looks in the dry wash. It was 6 feet deep with Russian tumbleweed. If you guys don't know what that is, it's just a really big old bowl-shaped pokey weed. They're really annoying and they really suck. The only thing you could see was this kid's legs dangling out of it. He had fallen in there and his friend thought he was eaten by a cow. So, I mean, it was just, it's special children. I mean, it's really not right because they're from Salt Lake. They don't know where a steak comes from. I mean, no. Okay. Anyways, they continued the hike after they had to drag him out of there, and they decided after that night that they would no longer think of cows as eating humans. And just the moral of the story, if you're hiking in the middle of the night with a guy who likes to tease you about man-eating cows, walk in a single file line. Please. It will save you a lot of pain and a lot of trouble. Trust me, I mean, it's just so much easier in this world to hike single file. But, oh wow. Okay, I think I'm going a little over the time limit, but I can see the guys back there. They've got a whole pile of things to throw at me if I go too long. Is that a chicken? I'm going to exit the stage before a live animal is thrown across the air towards the direction of my face. But I love you all guys. Thanks for coming and have a good night. In fact, for the day, cows are herbivores. They do not eat meat, they eat grass. I hate to break it to you.